What's up, guys? Tom back here to do another video. It's been a while since my last one, so figured it was about time. Got some stuff piling up, so mostly free jazz. I'm sticking with that vibe, so free jazz, spiritual jazz type stuff. So let's get into it. First up here, we got the Henry Threadgill Sextet. The album is called Just the Facts and Pass the Peas. His second album with this lineup, the Sextet lineup, released in 1983 on About Time Records. I believe the second album on About Time Records as well. Pretty good lineup though. You got Henry Threadgill on flute, clarinet, alto and baritone saxes, Fred Hopkins on bass, Ferone Akloff on percussion, as well as John Besh on percussion, which is awesome. Just picked up his Earth Blossom record. Great record. Aludera on cornet, Craig Harris on trombone, and Deidre Murray on cello. Really nice contemporary kind of avant-garde jazz stuff. Not too out there, but it's really cool. A great sound. I haven't really been that big of a fan of 80s jazz up until pretty recently. I've been getting a lot more into it and finding out there's a whole lot of great 80s jazz that I was just oblivious to for whatever reason. I was always more into 60s, 70s stuff, but stuff like this, awesome. Would definitely recommend that. Alright, moving on here, we got the Contemporary Jazz Quintet. Album is called Location from 1973. On Sextet Records. From Detroit, the group is comprised of Ron Brooks, Kenny Cox, who's I guess kind of like a leader of them, Ron English, Charles Eubanks, Leon Henderson, Phil Mendelssohn, Charles Moore, Bud Spangler, and Dan Spencer. So pretty decent sized lineup there. But just amazing kind of spiritual jazz, pretty funky. Once again, not too out there, pretty chill jazz, but really great stuff. I would highly recommend this, as well as pretty much any contemporary jazz quintet stuff. They've had two albums before this, both on Blue Note Records. I guess neither Blue Note or the group was kind of too happy with the way things were going, so they kind of went off and did their own thing, and with Strata Records here, which eventually did Strata East and stuff like that. But yeah, I would highly recommend Strata Records and Strata East. Both those put out great stuff. Promo copy there. So the label real quick, which is a promo stamp on it as well. But yeah, like I said, just really great, kind of spiritual, funky jazz. Nothing too crazy, but just really solid, really great stuff. Unfortunately, it does go for quite a bit of money, a little bit. I mean, it's not crazy expensive, but you know, I got this for a decent price. I think it's usually on Discogs, cheapest copy is like $80 for whatever reason, but I got this for about half that, a bit less, so whatever, I'm cool with it. Kind of bought myself it as a birthday present. So moving on, another album from '73. Coincidentally, one of my favorite players, Don Cherry. This is Don Cherry and the Jazz Composers Orchestra with the Relativity Suite. If you're not familiar with the Jazz Composers Orchestra, basically a loose collective of musicians, which features Charles Burkeen, Carlos Ward, Frank Lowe, Dewey Redmond, Leroy Jenkins, Charlie Hayden, Carla Bley, Ed Blackwell, Paul Motian, people like that. So I'm not going to name everybody because it is a pretty big group, but that's just to name a few people. Some probably more known people in the group, but amazing cover. I love the cover on this. Really cool. But yeah, just some more really great kind of spiritual, free jazz type stuff. Don Cherry does some vocals on here, which sound great. Does chanting and that kind of stuff, so really do dig it. I guess more like world jazz, I guess you would call this, in that vein. That's the kind of stuff he was doing, Don Cherry was doing around that time, so if you're familiar with what he was doing in like the 70s, early 70s, then you kind of know what to expect. The label on the Jazz Composers Orchestra Association Records. Yeah, another really solid album. I believe this is the third album from Jazz Composers Orchestra. I'm trying to find all their stuff. I actually have their second album on the way too, so found a really good deal for that recently. Alright, moving on. Next up, we got a solo album from Anthony Davis on Indian Navigation. This is called Lady of the Mirrors from 1980. It's really solid piano playing on here. Like I said, Anthony Davis solo piano record. I've talked about him before, and I really dig Anthony Davis as a piano player. Just really great, haunting piano. Not too much to say about this, other than I would recommend it if you're looking for a place to start. I think it's a pretty decent place, so got a pretty good deal on that. It's just on the regular Indian Navigation label there. Nothing too sexy about that one. Next up here, we got a really solid kind of Latin, other world jazz record. Another Don Terry project, actually. This is Dono, which is a group comprised of Colin Walcott, Don Terry, and Nana Vasconcelos. So instruments on here, you got like sitar, tabla, hammered dulcimer, trumpet, flutes, that kind of stuff, so percussion. But yeah, just really, really excellent. Like I said, I guess kind of like world music, world jazz, if you want to call it. A lot of like Indian influences, Eastern influences, but just amazing. This is their first one. They have 3 of them. I believe the second ones are just called Kedona 2 and Kedona 3, but I'll define those 2 eventually. I love that picture on the back too, a really great picture. And it is on ECM, so just a regular ECM label there. But really, really great stuff, once again. Can't really go wrong with Dono, in my opinion. Alright, moving on. We got kind of some more jazz in that vein, kind of Eastern, Indian influence stuff. Really happy to find this. This is a reissue from 2015. It's a Joe Harriet and Amancio da Silva quartet with guests, it says on the back. But Dono, originally released in '69. The original is damn hard to get. Goes for crazy money. So really happy they finally reissued it on vinyl for 2015. This pressing sounds great. I believe they redid the original cover and stuff, which is cool. Not much else to say about it other than definitely cool. Recorded in England. For players, you got Joe Harriet, alto sax, Amancio da Silva on guitar, Dave Green on bass, Brian Spring on drums, Norma Winstone, vocals, Ian Carr on flugelhorn. Yeah, that's it. But yeah, just really cool. Like I said, kind of more in that, definitely takes influences from Indian and that kind of music, so, but really, really cool. Definitely worth checking out right there. Happy to have that one. Next up, an album that's been shown in the VC a few times, I believe. I first heard about it from Dave Belson, I believe, from Boston. He showed it. That's where I saw it, at least. This is the Now Creative Jazz Ensemble, Arts Jazz Ensemble. Now Creative Arts Jazz Ensemble. The album is just called Now. From 1969, I believe. Basically, they're a whole group of performers and musicians, stuff like that. So they actually would play the music and then they put out a live performance at the same time. Got some pictures on the back on the Arhuli label. But just really, really solid free jazz stuff here from California, the Bay, I believe the Bay Area, the East Bay Area out of California. Yeah, just really great jazz. It's a bit more out there, not really the more chilled out style jazz. It's definitely more free. So for players, you got Smiley Winters. He definitely has some more albums on Arhuli as well. As far as I believe, Brett Wilson, Robin Young, Raheem Roach, Dale Reamer, Mike Breen, Peter Montalbano, Patrick O'Hara, Chris Amberger. I'm really not familiar with any of those people, but figure I would just name them. Except for Smiley Winters, I have definitely heard of him before. So label real quick. Arhuli. It's like I said, just a really solid free jazz album. Doing some performance piece on the front there, so I'm sure that was really interesting to see live. And I believe this album was recorded live too, while the performance was going on, so pretty interesting. I'm really happy to find this one. I found a pretty damn killer deal on this. Charles Tyler, Eastern Man Alone LP. This is from 67, I believe, on ESP disc, his second album on ESP disc. I would love to get the Charles Tyler Ensemble. I believe it's one that came before this, or Jericho as well. I'd love to get either one of those. But this is really, really good. An album that has no drums, just sax, cello, and 2 bass players. You got Charles Tyler on sax, Dave Baker on cello, and Brent Mickinson and Kent Brinkley on bass. 4 tracks, but just really great out there. Free jazz, kind of cosmic, I guess, atmospheric jazz. Great atmosphere, but definitely maybe not for everyone if they're not into music. Like I said, there's not any drums, so it might take some getting used to. If, you're not really used to that or you're not expecting it, but I thought it was just amazing. Great cover, and the label. So again, it's on ESP disc from 67, so highly recommended for me. Great stuff. And the last 2 here, I have to thank Tony, Mr. Fartboy. One I got directly from him, which is Max Roach, Members Don't Get Weary. Thank you, Tony. I really do appreciate this amazing album, as you said. And I knew it was good because I've heard it before, but I've never heard it in a while, so I've been listening to this a lot lately. If you're not familiar with this, released in 68, just a really, really solid. I went from Max Roach. Just excellent jazz right here. For players, you got Stanley Cowell, Gary Bartz, Charles Tolliver, Jamie Merritt, which I believe is from the Art Ensemble. Not an Art Ensemble, Art Messenger as well, I'm sorry. Art Blakey's Jazz Messengers. The next one, I reckon has to do with the Art Ensemble Chicago, that's why. And Andy Bay does vocals on the track Members Don't Get Weary. So, but yeah, really, really solid. Just on Atlantic. Yeah, classic Atlantic label there. But I really do appreciate this, Tony. This is awesome. And I'll definitely get you back for this one day, somehow. I definitely have a few things coming in, which I told you about, so maybe we'll hook you up with something there. And lastly here, another one that I got kind of was Tony's at one point, but I ended up with it. So like I said, indirectly from him, but the Roscoe Mitchell Sextet Sound is the name of the album, released in 1966. Roscoe Mitchell is from Art Ensemble of Chicago, and he does actually have a few players on here from there: Lester Bowie, Malachi Favors, as well as Lester Lashley, who I'm not so familiar with, Maurice McIntyre, and Alvin Fielder, who actually played with Sun Ra a bit. So, but just really, really great free jazz stuff on Delmark Records. This is the 2010 reissue, but originally released in '66. Delmark Records logo. But yeah, I would definitely highly recommend this. Great, great sound on here. 3 tracks. Side B is just one big track called Sound. It's 21 minutes long. Just amazing, amazing work. So might be able to find the OG one day, but this was definitely a decent price. So yeah, hopefully Tony will see a video from you soon, because I know you picked up a couple really, really killer pieces lately. So I know you're busy and stuff, but hopefully be able to make one soon enough, because I know we've all been waiting for it. So alright guys, that's it. I do have a few more things to show, but I'll probably stop here since I'm sure this video is long enough. So thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Sorry, I'm trying to hurry this up because it's getting quite hot in here. So that's it guys. I hope everyone is well, doing good, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Alright, peace.